How was that sky distance measured in the sky without reference to the ground, Brian?
It's not. It's measured against a flat baseline.
Oh, what an idiot.
How is it measured without reference to the ground? What, like you need to do because your ground's bending? Maybe reverse the burden. Ask us how you're going to get around this tricky situation where you need a flat baseline. That would be what it is being measured against. So ask us how it's not being measured against no baseline, no ground. Yeah, they don't do that, Blue. Maybe ask us a non sequitur question in an attempt to reverse the burden because you've got the tricky, awkward situation of a curved adjacent being needed as your ground. Yet we just measure it flat, like an angle would be with a flat baseline, like the tool suggests. How would we do it without that? We wouldn't. But that's your problem, Blue.
His son on here, and he didn't even come on to help out his son. So he's going to be a little chat skank. Come on the show, Blue Marble, or Hillbilly Blue Balls.
What is he calling me a coward or Nathan? Well,
Who cares?
Probably you, Nathan.
Who cares?
Well, to be exactly, he said play it from 6 minutes onwards, you cowards. That's what he said.
Oh, right. So let me get it straight. Let me get it straight. From the peanut gallery, he's decided how we'll present the information. Oh, right. No. You can come in and argue with us and put the information to us however you chose when there's an open door. Now, not knowing what the video is, having never watched it, I gave him the good grace to let his little echo chamber video get played here. It's something I would never normally do, but I like Brian. Brian asked me to do it. I wouldn't do it because he's asking me. You've got to be kidding. So I'll do it at the best of my ability. I had no idea where to stop the video. I've done it to the best of my ability. Now there's an open bloody door. He could have come in and gone, can you just play it from 6 minutes, please? And I'd have gone, of course. No worries. Absolutely, if you've got it pre-prepared and it's already being played. Not unreasonable for me to skip to 6 minutes. But what he wants to do it from the chat. Like some skank. No, thanks. No. I played it because Brian asked me to, and I had no idea what I was clicking on. I had a guess where your summary would be and where your main point would be, because you're basically pretty predictable.
Well, all I'd say about it is I don't know what he'd have after 6 minutes that's going to be any different than what was in it beforehand. I mean, if he's begging the question of a globe and he's talking about angles, the elevation angles off the surface of that globe, like, begging the question is not proof of anything. Elevation angles with a curved adjacent is obviously not proof of anything. Can't do that. He's agreeing that nautical miles are minutes of degree. He's agreeing the statute miles are a measurement along the surface of the Earth. I don't see what could be in it after 6 minutes. What special stuff is there? You know what I mean? Thanks for playing it, Nathan, by the way.
Minutes. But a more well-known term when referring to navigators' minutes is nautical miles.
Well, that brings up a couple of questions. Number one, where can I find a citation for the term navigator's minutes? Or is that just something you made up?
It's just a description, and it describes it perfect. What's wrong with it? I don't need the citation for that.
The question's rhetorical. Don't bother answering.
Let me get it straight. A really important point that you're asking is a rhetorical question, Blue. That's what I was so terrible and a coward for not playing. Your rhetorical question that didn't need answering at 6:37 after a bit of Brian. So far we're up to about 40 seconds of fluff that means nothing. That's what we were cowards for not playing.
Case of flat earthers wanting to rename something that's well understood, like nautical miles.
So an ad hom. Oh, we're such cowards for not playing your ad hom.
But here's a serious question.
Oh, I see. So at 6 minutes 45, we're getting our serious question after your fluff and non sequitur, followed by an ad hom. I see.
How was that sky distance measured in the sky without reference to the ground, Brian?
It's not. It's measured against a flat baseline.
Oh, what an idiot.
How is it measured without reference to the ground? What, like you need to do because your ground's bending? Maybe reverse the burden. Ask us how you're going to get around this tricky situation where you need a flat baseline. That would be what it is being measured against. So ask us how it's not being measured against no baseline, no ground. Yeah, they don't do that, Blue. Maybe ask us a non sequitur question in an attempt to reverse the burden because you've got the tricky, awkward situation of a curved adjacent being needed as your ground. Yet we just measure it flat, like an angle would be with a flat baseline like the tool suggests. How would we do it without that? We wouldn't. But that's your problem, Blue.
While you ponder those two questions, you got a big problem.
While I ponder them? No, I ripped your arse through your throat after hearing it. You asking me how I'd measure it without a flat baseline? No, I definitely need a flat baseline, and so do you. So asking me how I'm going to get around your tricky problem, while I ponder it, I didn't need any time to ponder it.
Over the North Pole, we know that each degree of latitude is 60 nautical miles. You guys even agree with that.
So, let me get it straight. He called us cowards because we didn't play from 6 minutes. We're up to 7 minutes, 8 seconds. And we've got absolutely nothing other than him asking us how we'd measure an angle without the ground being flat. Yeah, we wouldn't, but that's not our problem. It's yours.
Oh, I thought when he said that, when he referenced, I thought when he said about how would you measure the sky without along the sky without knowing about the ground, I thought he was referencing the Nautical Almanac. I just said, well, use the almanac then to find out where it is. Like, but the distance. I mean, the question was kind of bizarre, but I think maybe you were on the right track. That he was maybe begging the question. I don't know. I don't know what he was even asking there.
He's saying, how do you measure an angle to this star Polaris in his depiction if you haven't got this line that's flat along the ground? That's what he's asking. How'd you do it without that line? You wouldn't, but that's your globe Earth problem, you complete clown.
He's asking, how do you measure a straight line in a flat Earth, to me?
He's asking how you do it without that line. How'd you do it without the ground? What, measure an angle? Well, you need that straight, flat baseline. That's what we're asking for in the housekeeping question. How would you have that, yeah, if you're measuring an elevation angle, that's this line? Well, you can't do that, Blue. That's the point. You can't do that. Asking us how we do it without the thing you need and is curved on your model, that's not going to fly. Yeah, you wouldn't have got away with reversing the burden of proof if you were in person either.
Sounds like he thinks that they're doing it on a globe. That's what he's thinking. It's being done in a globe, but it's not. It's being done in a flat Earth.
Yeah, and you know this citation thing for this Navigator's Minutes? That's a description. I made it up on the spot. I don't care if anyone knows I made it up. Of course I did. That's how I described it. It's true. They're Navigator's Minutes. Minutes of degree used by navigators.
It's not that you made it up. You used language. That's what you've done. Well, how come you cite your specific use of language in this regard? What are you talking about? People are navigating and they're measuring minutes in the sky. So putting those two words together without the fluff in between doesn't make it cite-worthy. What's he talking about?
Use language to communicate with us, Brian. I understood exactly what you meant.
Yeah, I just wanted to simplify it. And that simplified it. Navigator's Minutes. That simplified it. Simplified it down to 1 for 1. Not one Navigator's Minute is 1 nautical mile. That's the whole point of the video.
Right.
I mean, so why would you want the citation for that? I don't know.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because he's majoring on the minors. You've used this weird phraseology I've never heard before. Go and cite it, because that's going to be the main crux of my... Hold on. What about the curved adjacent? Well, as for the curved adjacent, how would you measure an angle without the ground? What are you talking about? That's your problem.
Yeah.
Do you think they're just by asking us our devastating question back to us that somehow they take the win?
I mean, it is majoring on the minors with that nonsense. Like I've ignored that in chat. I've just completely ignored it. Every time I've been asked it, must be 30 times, 40 times, maybe more.
Really?
On those three videos. So give us a citation for this nautical mile or for this Navigator's Minute thing. So I can't find it anywhere. You know, every time I Google it, I can't find it. You know, I just ignore that.
Listen.
It's so obvious.
Nathan, can you? The best part of this is he did a video, and he put a picture. I had to go away for a minute or two, but I'm back. That picture of the sphere with the tangent plane on top, that line. Can you put that up again? That was the best thing you ever did right there. Thank you very much. So basically, the sextant is an angle measuring device. They're doing it from the surface of the Earth. The surface has to be flat. You got to have that baseline from the GP. They are avoiding 90 degree. They are avoiding right angle, and they're avoiding triangle. They've been from the beginning going against it. And yet when you look in their own books, when you use the sextant, you never minus it from 180. You never minus it from 160. You never minus it from 40. You minus it from 90. Always from 90. What's a 90? It's a perpendicular square box.
Right, I'm just going to draw that.
Flat baseline.
I'm going to draw that box. So in his diagram, in Blue Marble's diagram, from zenith to the measurement position on the ground, to the GP at 90 versus the sky measurement in degrees. That is the box that has just been described to do this measurement on his diagram. Now that box lines up with the flat plane he must have to make this measurement, with the GP of Polaris at 90 degrees to it. That is how it's done. Now, to do it in that box requires this straight line. It does not require anything that is drawn below this line. Completely redundant. Not required. You only need this flat baseline. What for, you say? Well, to measure the angle Blue Marble measured when he talked about measuring an angle to Polaris. That would be this angle, requiring a flat baseline. And the description, when minusing 90 by 10th man, is a box I am now drawing around the zenith to Polaris from your position, down to the GP of Polaris and back to your position. That is a box with 90 degrees at the corners. Flat plane required. Blue Marble, where'd you get your angle to Polaris with a curved adjacent? Answer, you didn't. It's depicted here.
I posted a screenshot that I meant to send you, Seth Man, actually yesterday night. Yeah, there's a box right there. Just sitting there Googling Cartesian coordinate system. There's a box.
So, as you can see on Eli's depiction, this is effectively, it's got Z on it, great. So that was where I referenced zenith out to GP of the star, back to the zenith, top of the position where you are. That's a box. So on top of his diagram, it would be here. A box. Flat plane required, first and foremost. Sod all to do with the sphere, second of all. Now he says, well, if I assume it's going to the centre from my zenith, you're going to need half of that. And if I assume that it's all going parallel, as we know it all is, you're going to need half of that. So why are you begging the question and utilising this complete redundant sphere below when the angle measurement's taken along this line? Answer, he needs it to be flat first before he can assume it's a sphere. Here's his flat baseline. Unlucky, Blue. Done, Eli, that's a good diagram. Perfect timing.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was actually arguing with somebody on Facebook. One of the people that I first like in my circle of friends, and she never got past how do you navigate on a flat Earth? It's obviously a sphere, and I keep telling her they use a grid system, and that's when I was just like, what can I do to show her? And that's when I found the box. So.
Yeah, you should have contacted me. I could have got you those things.
When you showed her her box, did she get it?
A box, no need.
No, she gave.
Nathan, how can you pick up on that?
She sent the GIF that said, "Shut the f up."
So what was the main?
Yeah, she
what was
attacked
the
you.
main?
I love it.
What was the main thing? How do you navigate on flat Earth? Was her response? Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's her own. Because she's like, I've flown around the world dozens of times.
Oh wow! Thank you.
Well, leave me throw something out there then, Eli, and hopefully she'll hear this. Okay, there's two ways you can navigate. You can navigate using the latitude and longitude grid via the use of the sextant, right? That's the way we've been talking about, and was done for a long, long time on board ships and airplanes, right? This is how they navigate it. But you can also navigate, right, via Cartesian coordinates. And Cartesian coordinates are used by surveying, cartography makes maps, militaries, and aerospace. So when she's flying around the world, as she puts it, right, what she's doing, what's actually happening is they're following what's known as north-east down. On the surface of the Earth, Cartesian coordinates are east-north up, but airlines do it opposite, so there's no mix-up with the coordinates. They don't mix up ground coordinates with the coordinates they're supposed to have, and they have north-east down. So they're always referencing a grid. That's what they do.